Mangwana ni Malelepo Vukenjani Klekla Savannah Ve Africa. This Monday on Africa Good Morning, we cover crucial developments, including the ongoing peace talks between the Congo government and M23 rebels in Qatar, the controversial expulsion of aid organizations from Libya, and growing protests in Central Africa against President Touadera's potential third term. We also remember the life of Amadou Bagayoko, the legendary Malian musician who passed away at 70, and highlight Zambia's President Hichilema's involvement in this year's Kuomboka ceremony. Additionally, the Zambia Report with Mike Situla brings the latest on the Copper Queens' narrow defeat to Thailand and the under-17 football team's qualification for the World Cup. Stay with us for these stories and more on DSTV 285, GoTV 25, OneUp2.com and Network Media Hub on YouTube. My name is Ashwin Berry. Top story shortly.
Welcome to Namibia, where adventure meets tranquility. With Enjoy, you have access to a wide range of accommodations to suit every traveler's taste and budget. Experience the finest dining and hospitality Namibia has to offer. Booking your dream accommodation is just a few clicks away with Enjoy. Join thousands of happy travelers who have trusted Enjoy for their Namibian getaway. Your gateway to unforgettable Namibian adventures. Visit us today at enjoy.my.na.
In our top stories, Congo's government and M23 rebels last week held private talks in Qatar for the first time since the rebels launched a rapid offensive in the country's east, capturing major cities and triggering a humanitarian crisis. The meetings, described as positive by a source familiar with the discussions, are expected to continue on April 9 in Doha and mark the most significant step toward peace in months. In a goodwill gesture, M23 withdrew from the strategic mineral-rich town of Walikale following repeated delays and accusations between both sides over unkept commitments. The fighting has stoked fears of a broader regional conflict, with neighboring countries like Uganda and Burundi also militarily involved. While neither Congo's government nor M23 commented publicly, the progress suggests a possible shift toward dialogue amid ongoing accusations, including claims denied by Kigali that Rwanda has backed the Tutsi-led rebel group with arms and troops. Libya has ordered the closure of 10 aid groups, including Doctors Without Borders and the UN Refugee Agency, accusing them of attempting to change the country's ethnic composition by encouraging African migrants to settle there. The authorities claim the organization's support for migrants by providing food, medicine, and shelter encourages them to remain in Libya rather than using it as a transit point, a move described as a threat to national identity. The announcement made by the internationally recognized government in Tripoli has drawn comparisons to Tunisia's controversial 2023 statement on African migrants, widely condemned as racist. Aid groups have decried the expulsions, citing increasing harassment and warning of dire humanitarian consequences. Critics say many migrants face horrific abuse in Libya, including torture, rape, and enslavement, while rights organizations reject the claim that helping refugees constitutes a demographic plot. The UNHCR defended its three-decade presence in the country and said it operates with the government's consent, while MSF warned the crackdown puts both patients and aid workers at risk. Thousands of demonstrators marched through the streets of Bangui to protest against President Faustin Archange Touadera's rumored push for a third term in office. Organized by the opposition bloc BRDC, the rally drew nearly 5,000 people, many of them young, who marched in solidarity from Jackson Bridge to the Boganda Monument, chanting the national anthem and holding anti-third term banners. Opposition figures, including Martin Ziguele of the MLPC, praised the youth-led mobilization as a sign of rising political awareness and frustration over governance failures. Protesters also condemned the use of foreign mercenaries like the Russian Wagner Group to suppress dissent and highlighted issues such as collapsing public services and a broken education system. As Touadera's second term nears its end, the BRDC has pledged to maintain pressure, warning that attempts to extend his rule could deepen instability in the Central African Republic. Anti-Trump protesters gathered in Washington and other U.S. cities. Thousands of anti-Trump protesters took to the streets, and this was across the United States and beyond this weekend in what organizers described as the largest coordinated opposition since Donald Trump returned to office in January. With over 1,200 demonstrations planned in all 50 states and several cities abroad, the protests targeted sweeping policy changes, including government cuts, harsh immigration measures, and new tariffs championed by Trump and his ally Elon Musk. In Washington, D.C., demonstrators rallied under gray skies near the Washington Monument, waving signs and chanting against what they called an attack on America's institutions. Similar scenes unfolded in cities like West Palm Beach, Stamford, and Los Angeles, with older citizens, retired professionals, and young activists voicing fears over job losses, threats to Social Security, and dismantling of civil services. While the White House denied intentions to cut social programs, protesters remained unconvinced, warning that Trump's aggressive reforms and the controversial Department of Government Efficiency were hollowing out public institutions. Protests also erupted in European capitals, reflecting the global unease surrounding the U.S. administration's domestic and foreign agenda. Amadou Bagayoko, the iconic Malian guitarist and one half of the Grammy-nominated duo Amadou and Mariam, has died at the age of 70, the Malian government announced on Friday. Blind since childhood, Bagayoko met his wife and musical partner Mariam Doumbia in the 1970s, and together they rose to international fame by blending traditional West African sounds with rock and pop. Their 2004 album Dimanche à Bamako, produced by Manu Chao, brought them global acclaim, leading to performances at Glastonbury, the Nobel Peace Prize concert, and tours with Coldplay. They also created the official song for the 2006 FIFA World Cup. Tributes have poured in from across the world, with artists like Youssou N'Dour and Manu Chao remembering Bagayoko's enduring spirit and musical legacy. Those have been our top stories on Africa Good Morning. Right after this, we're going to be swinging into the Zambia report with Mike Sichula.
Irango Med is a leading distributor, working in partnership with NewMed and WestMed to meet the comprehensive needs of the Namibian healthcare sector. As a partner pursuing sustainable global healthcare, we offer industry-leading medical solutions through our key focus areas, which include pharmaceuticals, orthopedics, ophthalmology, surgical devices, and capital equipment, as well as a well-established scientific laboratory division. In healthcare, Irango Med is committed to making a difference. What about you?
It's time to talk to Mike Sichula as he delivers the Zambia report. Mike, Wadiwanji.
Nyele Bueno Mulibwanji, Africa, good morning to our dear viewers.
Africa, good morning indeed. Now, Mike, President Hakainde Hichilema was among those who attended this year's Kuomboka ceremony last weekend. Tell us more about this colorful ceremony.
Yes, indeed, quite a very colorful ceremony. This is one of Zambia's major traditional ceremonies that takes place in April. So the president was the guest of honor at this year's Kuomboka ceremony taking place in Mongu, Western Zambia. So the ceremony was held under the theme Kuomboka, not just a traditional ceremony. So this event attracts both local and international tourists. And the climax of this ceremony is when the king of the Lozi, known as the Lutunga, moves from Lialeui to Limulunga in his majestic, traditionally made boat called the Narikwanda, sailing through the flood plains of the Zambezi River. So this year's event was not short of controversy, as some people of the Lozi tribe threatened that the president should not attend this year's event because they believe he has not uh, offered his promise made to the people of Western Province that he was going to honor the 1964 Balose Land Agreement. So this agreement wanted to ensure that this part of Zambia is seceded or removed, become its own, but successive administrations have always managed to ensure that there is unity between Western Province and the rest of Zambia. So again, this year, the president has managed to ensure that there is unity and nothing unusual happened during this ceremony. All those people who were threatening to cause violence, that did not happen, and the ceremony went on as planned.
All right, Mike, let's move on to your next story. Police in Chingola have arrested 76 suspects involved in a riot that resulted in the looting of goods from shops last week.
Yeah, quite a sad state of affairs there, where 76 suspects were apprehended on Thursday last week. So what happened is that a group of small-scale miners in Zambia, popularly known as the Jerabos, want to have access to a slag mountain of waste products from the mining industry. So because the government has, because of what happened last year, where a good number of people, close to 720, were buried alive at this same mine. The government told the Jerabos, the small-scale miners, to hold on until the rain season is over. That is when they can go back to their mining activities. But because of lack of patience, these miners, they wanted to go and start mining illegally without preventive measures such as protective clothing and also ensuring that the earth does not collapse if they start mining. So when authorities got wind of this state of affairs, they moved on site to disperse the small-scale miners from this mining area. And when these small-scale miners were removed, instead of just going back to their base and forget about it, they mobilized innocent Zambians, innocent residents of Chingola, Chiwempara town, and started looting shops in anger or retaliation to what authorities had told them not to go ahead with. So in the process, police managed to apprehend 27 suspects, including 2 who are currently admitted to a hospital, who have been charged with riotous behavior, and also uh, the rest of the number were people who engaged in malicious damage to property as well as breaking into shops. So the minister of the regional member of parliament has called for peace and unity and patience as government formalizes their mining activities at this mining dump site.
Let's get into the sports news stemming from Zambia. The Copper Queens lost 3-2 to Thailand, but it's looking better for the boys under 17s. Take us into your 2 sports stories, Mike.
Oh, yeah. So what happened is that Zambia is taking part in a 4-nation tournament in China, where the Zambia hosts China, Uzbekistan, as well as Thailand. So in their first match, Zambia, without the likes of Barbara Banda, Richo Kundananji, started the Yungkyong tournament in defeat, suffering a 3-2 loss to Thailand. The Copper Queens will now play Uzbekistan in the third place playoff match tomorrow. And Coach Nora, the Switch International, is using the tournament to prepare for the upcoming 2025 WAFCON to be held in July in Morocco. So last time Zambia were at the AFCON, they won a bronze medal. So because of the likes of Barbara Banda, Rachel Kundananji, a lot of Zambians, and including the Football Association of Zambia, led by Mr. Andrew Kamanga, they are hoping that this time around the Copper Queens can be crowned champions of Africa. Moving on, the under-17 national team led by Ian Bakala yesterday managed to beat Uganda 2-1 to ensure that they qualify to the under-17 Africa Cup of Nations quarterfinals, as well as booking their place at the World Cup under-17 to be held in Qatar. So this is the first time that the under-17 national team,
Change
men's
the
team,
picture.
has
Yeah,
managed to qualify to
because of
the
that other
World
logo.
Cup. And also the coach Ian Bakala is the sixth Zambian coach to qualify a national team to the World Cup. So it is a huge achievement for the junior Chiporoporo boys and also for the Zambian FA that has been managing the football to ensure that the youths do not miss out on football. As you are aware, what has been happening in the background regards the elections that were supposed to take place last month, but due to issues beyond the Football Association of Zambia, these elections were put off, risking that Zambia could be banned by FIFA.
All right, Mike, good news certainly for the under-17 boys as the Copper Queens need to pull their socks up. Now, in the last of your stories, Mike, we are aware that Zambia is a constitutionally Christian nation. However, a Nigerian pastor led a prayer service with thousands of Christians in the capital city of Lusaka. No one was ready for these numbers.
To put it so, because this event was happening during the middle of the week when you do not expect people to converge in one place because you are expecting a lot of people to be working. But yes, it was a different issue because the event was taking place at the Lusaka Showgrounds at 16 hours, but the place was being filled by people as early as 6 hours in the morning. So when it came to around 15 hours, as you can see how the people turned out in the showgrounds, multitudes of Zambians from uh, uh, all walks of life, and it shocked a lot of people as to how local pastors in Zambia fell. You can see people there having their lunch, their meal before the main event. So this event has caused a lot of stir on social media because a lot of Zambians who were not even aware have wondered why local pastors failed to attract so much people to their events. So this is because of the filled up to capacity meeting on Thursday last week. The prayer conference featured Pastor Jerry Ezi, Pastor Nathaniel Bazo, and a musician Sinai of Nigeria. So the conference, which was for 16 hours, like I did say, attracted followers from as early as 6 hours in the morning. You can imagine that.
Very interesting indeed, as are all your stories that you bring us from Zambia. Thank you very much, Mike Sichula, for delivering the Zambia report.
Thank you very much, Africa. Good morning. And I'm glad that you spoke about the under 17 qualifying to the World Cup. It is a very big achievement for Coach Ian Bakala, who just lost a job at his club. So, him qualifying to the World Cup, it is a big relief. Thank you very much, Africa. Good morning to our dear viewers.
Zambia Kuchalo. Stay with us as we head into economic news. Lesotho has been significantly impacted by the recent imposition of a 50% tariff on its exports to the United States, announced by President Donald Trump. The small southern African country, which relies heavily on textile exports, especially jeans, has been hit hard by the tariffs as the U.S. is one of its largest trading partners. Lesotho's textile factories, which produce garments for major American brands like Levi's and Wrangler, make up nearly 3/4 of the country's exports to the U.S. This tariff threatens to disrupt the garment industry, which is a key source of employment, with potential factory closures and job losses. The Lesotho government plans to send a delegation to Washington to argue against the tariff, as the U.S. trade imbalance with Lesotho is partly based on the country's large exports of textiles and diamonds, yet minimal imports from the U.S. In 2024, the U.S. exported only $2.8 million worth of goods to Lesotho, while its imports from the country totaled $237.3 million. Now, the tariffs are seen as part of Trump's broader strategy to reduce U.S. trade deficits, but for Lesotho, the impact could be devastating for its economy. Moving on to our next economic news story, we are in Rwanda. Christelle Rugege, the managing director of Rwanda's Center for the Fourth Industrial Revolution, delivered impactful remarks at the Global AI Summit on Africa, offering key insights into the continent's growing role in shaping the future of artificial intelligence.
Now, yesterday morning, I said that this summit is not just about ideas, it's about action. So as we conclude today, I'm deeply honored to share one of the key outcomes of the summit, the Africa Declaration on Artificial Intelligence. Building on foundational strategies, policies, and commitments of the African Union, Smart Africa, and the United Nations, this declaration acknowledges the unique opportunities, risks, challenges that AI presents for Africa, and a collective vision to scale Africa's AI capabilities responsibly, ethically, while driving innovation and inclusive growth across the continent. This declaration is grounded in principles such as sovereignty, inclusivity, and diversity in African AI to reflect our diverse cultural context and strategic priorities. We recognize that AI must serve all African communities, guided by principles of ethics, transparency, and human dignity. To realize our shared aspirations, this declaration lays out key commitments to drive decisive action. First, developing a comprehensive and competitive talent pipeline through continent-wide AI education and research initiatives. Establishing frameworks for open, secure, and inclusive data governance. Deploying affordable, sustainable computing infrastructure accessible to researchers, innovators, and entrepreneurs across Africa. Creating supportive ecosystems with regional AI incubation hubs driving innovation and scaling African AI enterprises domestically and globally. Mobilizing investment, including ambitions to raise a $60 billion Africa AI fund to build resilient AI ecosystems and accelerate growth. Harmonizing governance frameworks to facilitate national and regional cooperation and to enable cross-border data flows. Supporting Smart Africa's efforts to establish an Africa AI Council and the critical role they can play in shaping Africa's position within the global AI economy through multi-stakeholder engagement. This declaration is not only about Africa's future, it acknowledges that Africa's AI ecosystem is alive and well and ready to scale. As we conclude this summit, let's ensure that next time we meet, we are reporting on progress, infrastructure that has been built, partnerships that have emerged, and enterprises that have been scaled. I thank you all for your contributions to this inaugural summit, and although the event has ended, I think the work starts here. So I wish you all a good evening and best for everyone who is traveling back to your respective countries. Thank you.
Thank you for staying with Africa Good Morning throughout the broadcast. We are here throughout the week, every single weekday. Today, we zoned in on Zambia. Tomorrow, it's Zimbabwe. Wednesday, Botswana. Thursday, South Africa. And Friday, we swing right back to the land of the brave, Namibia. From me, Ashwin Berry and the Africa Good Morning team, DSTV 285, GoTV 25, 102.com, and Network Media Hub on YouTube is where you can always find us. Suraj Kanaka.